In aviation, every partnership is political. Since 2018, Indigo's codeshare with Turkish Airlines has connected Indian travelers to 42 global cities, like New York, London, and Helsinki. But these have been through Istanbul. Since the May of 2023, two leased Boeing 777s, flown by the Turkish crews, link Delhi and Mumbai to Istanbul daily, and they serve about 30,000 passengers a month. This deal delivers affordable fares and global reach without Indigo owning any wide-body jets. But trouble has been brewing as Turkey's backing of Pakistan in Operation Sindoor has sparked public backlash. Air India is also pushing hard and lobbying to block the lease that Indigo has with Turkish Airlines. Indigo is not the first to face this kind of crossroads. In fact, in 2016, Jet Airways underwent something similar with Etihad. In 2013, when Etihad acquired a 24% stake in Jet Airways, it boosted the code shares and expansion of Jet. But then by 2016, Jet stepped back in to regain some control. The founder Naresh Goyal wanted Jet to grow independently and not merely feed Etihad's Abu Dhabi hub. So Jet relocated its base to Amsterdam for stronger connections. Jet Airways' shift improved connectivity, but sadly it wasn't enough to prevent its collapse in 2019. For Indigo, cutting ties with Turkish Airlines would definitely increase its domestic support, but it risks losing Istanbul's global hub and thus lesser connectivity to international money-making routes like New York and London. The lease agreement that Indigo and Turkish have isn't that easy to break apart. The code share is likely renewed every 1 to 2 years and requires 56 weekly flights under the India-Turkey Air Services Agreement. The aircraft wet lease, however, is refreshed every 6 months and costs $2 to $3 million monthly. With an aircraft wet lease, Turkish Airlines currently provides the entire crew, including the pilots for their Boeing 777s. If Indigo does intend to cut ties with Turkish, then it's likely that at the present, Indigo's legal team would be reviewing the exit clauses in their agreement. Ending this lease early could mean anywhere between $5 to $10 million in penalties. The airline code share might also demand a 90-day notice and disrupt more than 40-plus onward routes from Istanbul, as tickets several months ahead might have been sold. The two leased Boeing 777s carry 30,000 passengers per month between Delhi, Mumbai, and Istanbul. So if Indigo decides to pull the plug, then replacing that capacity will be tricky and a race against time. See, at the present, Indigo has just entered into a wet lease agreement with Norse for 6 Boeing 787s to operate directly to Europe or the US from India. One thing that Indigo can do is increase the number of wet leased aircraft from Norse. If this is not possible, then there is an alternative of entering into a lease with Air Belgium, as they are keen to lease the Airbus A330neos. However, this does come with the risks, as if the airlines are not willing to do a wet lease, then Indigo would need to train pilots for their wide-body certifications, and this can cost up to $500,000 each, with up to 6 months of training. Indigo has also ordered 30 Airbus A350s, so in the long term, they are hinting at stopping wet leasing and plan on owning their own wide-body aircraft. But these Airbus A350s do not arrive until late 2027. So this is still something that is about 2.5 years in the future. One other alternative Indigo could consider would be to increase their current codeshare involvement with Qatar Airways. At least that way, they would still be able to sell tickets to the Far West and Europe, but with the Middle Eastern hub based in Doha. On the other hand, the Indian government has now revoked the security clearance for the Turkish-linked firm Çelebi Aviation. Çelebi Aviation provides ground handling and cargo management services at 9 major Indian airports. Following this security clearance revoking, there is a high possibility that the India-Turkey Air Services Agreement might also face revisions or get entirely cancelled. Maybe this might be the catalyst that sets Indigo on a path to directly connecting Europe and USA to India, without requiring Istanbul as a middle hub. In summary, walking away from the Turkish Airlines partnership for Indigo is a bold move and will require getting through legal challenges and fees. The costs could be millions in penalties and disrupted flights, similar to what Jet Airways faced with Etihad. But on the other hand, this is a chance for Indigo to capture the Europe and US market on their own without needing a hub outside of India.